Hello and welcome to our 10 years anniversary series for our HPC Systems open source platform. And as you are accustomed already, we have great people in the community that have been joining us for this series. And today is no exception. We have two of our key exponents in the community in Brazil. Yes, from all places. They have been quite active. They have done a lot of community activities and helped us bring academia and other industry organizations to the forefront in the HPC Systems open source community. So, of course, they probably don't need much in terms of introduction. Hugo and Claudio have been around with us for a long time. Hugo is one of our key trainers, and because he is bilingual or more, he can help us deliver also this training in Portuguese. And Claudio, he's been one of our core technologists for a very long time and been involved with HPCC since before HPCC was HPCC. So, hello, folks. Thank you very much for joining me. Hugo and Claudio, thank you very much.
Thanks, Flavio, for having us.
So, folks.
And feliz aniversário HPCC OSS.
Oh, that's very good. Yes, of course. Yes, feliz aniversario. So, folks, tell me a little bit about how we got to the getting HPC Systems open source in Brazil. I think Claudio has been there from the very inception, and Hugo came in a little bit later. But let's start with Claudio then. Claudio, tell us more about HPC Systems open source and how we got the community engaged in Brazil.
Yeah, let's go back to circa 2015. And this is really more on the LexisNexis side that we were trying to expand internationally, and we started, coming down to Brazil to talk to potential clients. Different type of information businesses in Brazil, and the next year, 2016, is probably when we were, first at a local university where we did an event at Federal de Santa Catarina, UFSC. We're invited, I believe, to really listen to presentations by the students. It was essentially a technology week. There's a big event going on, and I came down just for a day. It was a day trip, and just they gave me, I think, 1 hour at the podium, if you will, to discuss HPCC. And this was probably, I think I didn't even have Portuguese slides at the time. It was just Flavio's English deck on HPCC. So this is pre-Portuguese. I think I winged it in Portuguese, but with the English deck, and it was well received. We met a lot of people. The professors, were engaging. And from that event, we're actually able to make some hires. Some that became ECL developers. Another gentleman that became, C++ developer in the ESP, right, the Enterprise Service Platform. So, all in all, that was a good start. I'd say that was great traction for a first encounter with the community in Brazil.
And then the community exploded in Brazil. Then we had lots of academic activity and even some research collaboration internships. So Hugo, by the time you joined, what year did you join the community and the organization?
Yeah, so I joined first quarter of 2019.
Okay. So by the time you joined, it was already exploding, right? And we had some of the our initial scenes corrected. So we had Portuguese versions of some pieces at least, and translation in the platform as well. But how did you feel that we were at when you joined, Hugo?
Yeah, so that is a very interesting question, Flavio, because I think Claudio and his team has actually built a very strong foundation for our academic collaborations in Brazil. So by the time I joined early 2019, we've already had like some sort of presence on the academic events and some of the universities like Federal of Santa Catarina. And so basically, the year before I joined, I noticed that they were running workshops, like short duration workshops, and also some talks on scientific conferences. And basically what we tried to do by that time was mainly keep up that initiative. Myself, along with another colleague from the office, Artur, who is also a PhD researcher. And we kept it running for a couple of months. And then we started looking at what the universities in Brazil would be looking for in terms of collaboration. So we thought that basically the universities, especially the public universities in Brazil at that time, were looking for three different areas of collaboration. First, they wanted some kind of partnership to help teach the students. So because that's the primary goal of any public university is to teach the students. So they were looking for
and that's not sorry to interrupt, but it's not uncommon. Many universities around the world, that's one of the primary objectives.
True. Yeah, actually, every university has those three objectives, right? Teaching students, doing research, and also fulfilling demand from society. So we took those three initiatives and tried to elaborate a comprehensive plan where we could perhaps approach each one of those initiatives with HPCC systems, right? Because being such a end-to-end platform, like we say, we could see several opportunities to start exploring each one of those three areas. So by the beginning of 2020, that's the very first year where we actually had the time to plan those initiatives. We start talking about a local university in São Paulo area, which is closer to our office, University of São Paulo, which is also the largest university in Brazil and one of the largest in the world. And we started exploring areas where we could eventually give a full course on HPCC for students in order to develop some sort of big data skill set on them. On the research area, early 2020, we started investigating the possibility of conducting undergraduate research, especially with the Federal University of Santa Catarina. And by the end of 2020, we also established two additional undergraduate projects with the University of São Paulo. And in the third area, society, we tried to come up with some sort of plan where we could also provide some HPCC skill set to the business professionals in Brazil that would be looking at some type of formation in big data. So we also started delivering nightly courses, 24-hour nightly courses for business professionals during the week. So basically, that's the new strategy or the new plan that we have set once I joined it alongside with Arthur.
So, and maybe back to Claudio. Claudio, how hard was to get the community, academic community, and others, and industry, business engaged on HPCC in Brazil? Do you feel like there was a need and we brought the platform to cover that need, or we just need to force it down people's throat?
Yeah, so my experience in those 2016, 17, data science, big data, they just huge attention span, like in the country. Everybody is really wants to know more, wants to learn more, wants to hear what we have to say. So I think once and again, I started with 2015, and we kind of took a gap there to 2020. So between 2016 and 2019, we're just like an ad hoc outreach operation. Whenever we'd be like maybe hired somebody new from a university that we had no alumni from there before. That person would be like, yeah, I know professor. Oh yeah, can share the contact, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later we'll be on campus and talking about the platform. But always lots of interest. Anything with big data platform that can enable data science. Easy to work with data. Quick to stand up and quick to scale. It was always big interest. We talked to different universities that already had programs like smart cities, IoT type applications that they were looking for a backend to host all that data. So I'd say, yeah, the demand definitely outstrip the supply on my side. We couldn't have all the conversations that were kind of like coming through email. And, Hugo's done a great job like taking that to the next level and setting up a schedule, like where in the beginning of the year we have an idea of all the different events that we're going to do. It was all much more ad hoc before, but always with a lot of local interest. I mean, data science, big data, always a lot of interest. I'd say all the events that we went to, some of them weren't big, right? We'd have a room that maybe fit 30 to 40 people. Lots of time they were late, so end of day like 9 o'clock, and there'd still be a great crowd. So the interest, I mean, yeah, big data, data science, it's huge interest in Brazil right now.
Wow. And Hugo, you did also quite a bit of work to do, both to translate material to Portuguese, especially our online courses, and also to deliver or training across the board and build that material as well. So as you build that material, did you find that as valuable activity? So if you today you do training many times online, and in other cases you just let people go over the material and learn. You think that there is value on both sides, on the face-to-face training, even if it's online, plus the training using that material now in Portuguese?
Okay. So talking about the Portuguese material first, I think yes, it is, especially because we know Brazil is such a large country, and not everyone speaks English, especially in regions far from the main cities. And since we started giving those online courses, that's actually where we could reach audiences that are really, really far from where we are located. And for those people specifically, the Portuguese translation was really helpful. Even today, when we start giving, some type of online courses, people always ask if we have the material in Portuguese. So it was really helpful, not only for them, but also for me, because if you remember, by the time I joined the company, I was also new to ECL and HPCC. So working along with the documentation team and helping translate and review the material also gave me a new perspective and the conditions to build my own material going forward. And then just want to make a brief comment on the online courses. I do feel that, especially from my perspective, my personal perspective, I come from a tradition of giving live classes, so I like the interaction. I like to see what the student is doing on his PC, and all of that has been taken away from us during the pandemic. But on the other side, the pandemic has also given us many new opportunities to reach out to areas, universities, states that we would never probably reach if we need to come on person over there.
Yes.
I remember beginning of 2020, myself and Claudio and Arturo, we were looking at that plan for all the conferences and universities we want to go in 2020 before the pandemic. And basically when March timeframe came around, we basically need to reinvent ourselves and come up with a new strategy. But at the end, it was really, really helpful. When we look at the numbers at the end of the year, we were able to reach more than almost 50 cities across 4 different countries in South America with our classes in 2020. So really the online classes, I need to say, were really helpful in this context.
Well, and I know there is always a silver lining to anything, and the pandemic, with all of the bad things that it has done to humanity, it did accelerate some of this change. We found ourselves doing our first virtual summit last year, and not only that, but we also not only did we make a virtual summit, but we made possible to do simultaneous dual language.
Yeah.
That was just all that training course was great, and seeing people engage. When in a normal year when we do this face to face, we might be able to have, I don't know, 200, 250, 300 people in the room. In a virtual summit environment, there was no limit. So you can have as a matter of fact, I do remember attending the first day of the training, and the virtual room getting full.
It was full.
So that was great. I thought that it was a great piece of innovation from your part, of course, Richard Taylor and Bob, because coming up with that training virtual and making it so engaging was just completely blew all of our predictions off the charts.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I mean, it was a brilliant idea. And of course, I always want to thank Richard and Bob for also giving the foundation for those classes to happen, right? All the material, all the teaching strategy comes from them. But I really enjoyed, if you think in the previous years, how many Brazilians would have the opportunity to actually attend the summit would be a very limited number of individuals. So I think, again, the pandemic has enabled us to take the summit at another level, at least from a geographic reach perspective. And I hope that will maintain across the next years.
And we will. And now that we said that, so now we set the floor quite high. This year we need to make it even better. So yes, the idea is to do it again virtual and have it broadly open to the world. So we'll need to see which other languages we will need to introduce. So maybe Chinese.
Spanish.
Spanish, yeah, you're absolutely right. Spanish, yeah, absolutely. So, folks, it's been a great experience. I think, of course, I always enjoy every one of these sessions that we do with people. And what you have done for the community has been great over the last so many years. As Claudio said, well, we started with this in 2015 in Brazil, but it is 6 years already. So it's not just yesterday. It was quite a few years ago. And same thing with you, Hugo, coming on board in 2019. So you've done an amazing job there, getting our community engaged, growing that community from zero. So from nobody knew us, or maybe a few people, but that's it, to a fairly large and active community there as well. And I only hope that this continues to grow the same way.
Cheers for exponential growth. That's what we want.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely.
Long live to HPCC.
Thank you very much, and happy 10 years anniversary to HPCC. Absolutely.
Feliz aniversario. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Flavio. Hugo.
Thank you.